Welcome to the video lecture series of wireless cellular and 4G LTE, module number 2, lecture number 10. So today we are going to see the another type of multiplexing over here, that is called as a spatial multiplexing. Okay, so in the previous video lectures we have seen about the receiver diversity and the time diversity. Okay, so let us look into the another type of technology or a mechanism in LTE, which is known as a spatial multiplexing. Okay, so what basically the spatial multiplexing is nothing but it's another type of independent, okay, a spectrum, okay, between the transmitter and the receiver, okay, where we go for the multiplexing type of mechanism. Okay, so you take any multiplexing, okay, where you can see different mechanisms are being already adopted in the wireless communication, and even different types of multiplexing is also adopted in the communication system. Okay, like we have a TDM multiplexing, okay, we have the another is like FDMA multiplexing. Okay, so many other multiplexing techniques have already adopted in wireless communication, but as it is a LTE, right, so we need to focus more on the challenges which we face, okay, in the multiplexing. Okay, so when you see about the previous concepts, okay, where we have transmit diversity and uh, the another type of receiver diversity. Okay, so we have made use of a MIMO system, but not exactly the MIMO system. It's a like single input and single output, or it can be multiple input and single output. But when it comes to the spatial type of a multiplexing concept, okay, from multiple independent links, okay, or the same spectrum band, here we have a common spectrum band. Okay, we don't have a separate spectrum band for the transmit as well as the receiver. Okay, so they are completely belonging to the same spectrum, okay, between the transmitter and the receiver, and sends the data in parallel through those particular channels, or you can say those particular spectrum. Okay, so what does this actually means here is both at the transmitter side and at the receiver side, okay, we will make use of the multiple antenna mechanism, that is making use of more than one antenna at the transmitter and at the receiver. This is the first point. The second point is you need to transmit the information, same information, over the channel, or you can say the spectrum. Okay, so if I say that this is my available spectrum over here, that is a wireless spectrum in the wireless channel, okay, between the transmitter and the receiver. Okay, you need to send the data parallel through this particular channel only. Okay, let the data can be the same from coming out from each antenna, and let the data which is received at the receiving antenna be the same, but they are being kept for a different symbol, different subcarriers. Okay, or simply you can say that the energy received for those particular signals will be completely different from each other. Okay, but there is a problem when we make use of such kind of mechanism is nothing but a crosstalk can be introduced between the antennas. Okay, there is a crosstalk between the antenna. The meaning of the crosstalk is nothing but there is an overlapping of the spectrum, or the overlapping of the signal in those particular spectrum. Okay, so it becomes very difficult for a signal processing algorithm or a signal processing technique to remove those particular crosstalk. Okay, because when it comes to the signal processing, okay, there is a possibility that we may encounter aliasing. Okay, so we need to put some kind of a filter kind of mechanism such that the aliasing can be completely removed. Okay, so here also in spatial multiplexing, as there exists a crosstalk between the antennas, so therefore it has to be removed by some kind of digital signal processing algorithms. Okay, so if you remove those particular crosstalk, then the energy which is received at the receiving antenna will be more beneficial as compared to the signal which is or having some kind of crosstalk. Okay, so let us see some kind of signal processing algorithms over here. Okay, so the first example is a 2x2 MIMO spatial multiplexing. The meaning of the 2x2 is nothing but two antennas will be at the transmitter side and two antenna will be at the receiver side. So if I say that antenna x1 and x2 they belongs to transmitter, and y1 and y2 belongs to a receiver Rx. Okay, so how this particular antenna will work, or what will be the mechanism of transmission? Okay, so there will be a data at the transmitter both at x1 and x2. This is the first point. The second point is the data which is received at y1 will not be only x1, and the data which is received at x2 will not be on y2 will not be x2. Okay, so when you receive the data at particular y1, because of the mechanism of the spatial multiplexing, we have x1 into h11. Okay, this is one thing, and the second is x2 into h12. Okay, so here you can see, and in y2 h2 in h21 into x1 plus h22 into x2. So this forms one kind of a matrix mechanism, right? So the channel distortion is represented by h star star. Okay, and it can be estimated by the receiver. Okay, because our channel is completely a wireless channel over here, there is a possibility that we may encounter some kind of distortions or noise. Okay, so therefore here this two stars represents the value over here, so that it can be h11, h12, h21 and h22. And this particular distortion can only be estimated at the receiver. The meaning of the estimation is nothing but how much amount of noise or how much amount of distortion is being occurred when it is received at y1 and when it is received at y2. And the one method to go for the estimation or the calculation is nothing but the in terms of the power. Okay, or in terms of the received power. Okay, when you try to calculate the received power for those particular signals, okay, and when you try to compare with the transmitted power, okay, then we may have the efficiency factor. Okay, so basically the efficiency is denoted by neta in terms of percentage. Okay, so here you can go for the power output, okay, divided by power input, or in terms of energy also, right? So only there are two unknowns, that is x1 and x2, easily obtained by solving those particular equations. Okay, if you try to solve these particular equations, you may find what is the actual value of x1 and the value of x2. Okay, so this is 2 cross 2 MIMO spatial multiplexing. Okay, now what about the gain in the particular spatial multiplexing? Okay, so the first is nothing but it is asymptotic gain. Okay, in general it means that the capacity from the spatial multiplexing scales is completely linear. So that is, it is given by minimum value of the transmitter numbers into the received numbers. It can take it like this also as the transmitter antennas and receiver antennas. Okay, and when you go in particular practice of finding those particular gain, it is nothing but it also depends on the channel distortion. Okay, you may not have the proper gain if your channel is completely distorted by checking the condition of the channel. Okay, so if the channel between the different antennas are correlated, okay, for example h star star are all the same, then you cannot solve the equation. Okay, so during such condition the spatial multiplexing is completely infeasible. Okay, the second condition is the channel condition can be profiled using condition number. Okay, condition number, if you see what is the condition number over here, okay, if it is same, okay, then we cannot solve. If it is different, then that gives me the condition number, and based on that condition number we can have the channel profile, how much amount of distortions is been occurring, and what will be the feasibility of our channel part, or the feasibility of the gain. Okay, so practically the wireless devices, when you go make use of such devices, okay, so the multiple antennas are separated sufficiently far, farther than half wavelength, so the channel is usually uncorrelated. Okay, so this is theoretical value. Okay, but when it comes to the practical values, okay, so the multiple antennas, they are completely separated apart. Okay, when the term separated comes here, okay, it means that we don't have any kind of crosstalks over between the two antennas. Okay, then what about the multi-user MIMO systems? Okay, the concept of MIMO user systems is again can be categorized with respect to single antenna and multi-user antenna. Okay, so if you look at this particular design of single antenna, okay, because I have only one antenna over here, okay, and I have two different data to desired data. So there is between these two devices, I have a crosstalk. So there is a problem with a single antenna that we may encounter with crosstalk. But if you make use of the MIMO systems, that is multiple input and multiple output, okay, so each antenna will be having its own responsibility and there is no any existence of crosstalk. So therefore, the conclusions here is the MIMO system enables the multiple stream of data to be sent to different users in parallel without crosstalk interferences. Okay, so this is how we can best make use of the MIMO systems instead of using the single antenna. Okay, and how actually the MIMO system, multi-user MIMO system will work, okay, from the traditional MIMO system. Okay, again, I will here we have two antennas, X1 and X2, and two receiver nodes, RX1 and RX2. Okay, so again, you can see the equations which we obtain over here is y1 is for h11 into x1 plus h12 into x2, and y2 will be equal to h21 into x1 plus h22 into x2. Okay, now the only thing is each rx has only one equation, okay, but it has the two variables, no way to solve it directly, so it is not possible to solve directly. So therefore x2 causes the crosstalk interferences to x1 and vice versa. You can see over here, right, there is a crosstalk because for the equation number one, okay, for this equation I have both values, I have x1 in this equation, I have x2 in this equation. So if this equation, if I say that my y1 is my output of the receiver antenna, then because of these two x1 and x2, there is an existence of crosstalk, there is an existence of crosstalk because there are two variables, x1 is the first variable and x2 is the another variable. Okay, or you can take h11 and h12. So it becomes very difficult to solve it directly in terms of the multi-user MIMO systems. Okay, now how to remove this crosstalk in the multi-user MIMO system? Okay, to remove the crosstalk, okay, what we do here is we assign the weights for the x1 and x2. Okay, let us assign the weights for x1 and x2, or a mixed weight also you can say. Okay, for example, here for the transmitter one sends, okay, transmitter one is nothing but this is my first transmitter and this will be my second transmitter, right? So if I say that my transmitter one has, it is W11, so what will be the, and if this is W12, so what is the output of Y1? Y1 is equal to W11 into H1, or simply you can say as the X1. If I take this is an X1 and this is X2, same, keeping the same and changing the weights. So X1, Y1 is equal to W11 into X1 plus W12 into X2. Similarly for this, it is W21 into X1 and W22. So it means that instead of H, I am trying to put some weights. It is a mixed weight. Okay, these four are called as a mixed weights. Okay, so when the data is received at this y1, okay, so what will be the y1 equation here is y1 is equal to, it is an h11 multiplied by the weight. So what is the weight we obtained at the transmitter one? So this is my weight, plus h12 will be remaining same, again you put the weight over here. It means that this is the value of actually x1 and this is the value of x2. Okay, similarly you can go for solving such equations, okay, and then you can find the answer of y1 without crosstalk. So rx1 only wants x1, okay, so that rx1 means this, I want only x1, I don't want x2 over here, because transmitter 1 has transmitted x1, so the y1 should have x1 only. So but along with the x1 I am having the value of x2 also. So okay, so therefore rx1 wants only x1, so ideally we should have this equation which is equated to 0, which is equated to 0. So that is h11 into w12, okay, plus h12 into w22, right? So this is how we can remove the crosstalks. Okay, and another thing is how the MIMO system is working with the pre-coding techniques. Okay, so you can see here that transmitter TX can be obtained by H11 and H12 from the receiver's feedback, so that it can tune to the weights which we have assigned for at the transmitter antennas. Okay, so this cancels the crosstalks. This is the first thing. And similarly, we can cancel from X1 to X2 also. So it is vice versa. You can cancel from X1 to X2, or you can cancel from X2 to X1. Okay, so what this concludes is there is that is zero forcing beamforming is possible with by making use of this multi-user MIMO system. Okay, how does transmitter obtain channel state information? How to obtain the channel state information? Because we need to have the channel information also, right, before transmission. So therefore, what here you can see is this is my transmitting antenna and these are my receiving antennas. Okay, so the transmitting antenna announces, okay, and then the data will be sent. So at the receiver antenna, this is Rx1 into CSI, that is feedback for the scheduling part, and then it acknowledges. Similarly, Rx2 will send and it will acknowledgement. So some kind of acknowledgement mechanism is been taken it into the consideration when we go for such kind of MIMO systems. Okay, so but this data is a common data for both the Rx1 and both Rx2. It's a common data, but it is sent in a parallel manner. Okay, because that is what the speciality of the spatial multiplexing in terms of MIMO systems. Okay, but we have some kind of a limitations over here. That is the multi-user MIMO system. It is essential form of spatial multiplexing, means it is one form of spatial multiplexing. So the channel must be well conditioned. So the condition of the channel should be checked well in before the transmission of your data. Okay, so that there should not be any kind of crosstalks. Okay, and there is a limitation in the MIMO system, nothing in the architecture part, that only one transmitter at a time can be used. Okay, simultaneous transmission from different transmitter can causes the collision. You can see here, right? If I make use of the more than one transmitter, there can be a collision, because this transmission, it is also transmitting, and if this is also transmitting, then it becomes a collision over here. So the network capacity does not scale with the transmitter density. Okay, we do not focus more on the capacity part, rather than we focus more on the number of transmitters. Okay, and when it make use, when you go for the wired MIMO system or a network MIMO system, okay, so a joint MIMO should have multiple APs. Okay, and the AP is nothing but access points. So this is access point 1, access point 2, access point 3. Okay, but they are all with making use of wire backhaul networks. Okay, so there should be tightly synchronization with each APs, and there should be mutual interferences can be better, but it will cancel the interferences, and you can also increases the gain capacity also. Okay, so this is another example which is also called as a super joint. Okay, which is completely infeasible, cannot be used in a proper way. And this is the another type of a network, okay, where they make use of a MIMO scalable architecture. Okay, where we have inter-cluster and intra-clusters, where the number of devices will be more, and the capacity can also be increased. Okay, so this is how the all about the spatial multiplexing is. Okay, and you can refer the textbook number 1, that is fundamentals of LTE. Okay, and that is by Anurag Ghosh. Okay, and also you can make use of the textbook 2, that is fundamentals of wireless communication. Okay, so with this I will end up with today's class of spatial multiplexing. Okay, so in the next class we will see about some important aspects of the LTE system. Thank you.